I don't know how to explain it, but it was just this feeling of, oh, no, that's going to be me. Of course it's going to be me.
Wow.
And I felt very good about it, and it really feels like the natural next step.
Welcome to the Transfer Files, inside the world of federal innovation. This is your insider's look at how federal laboratories bring groundbreaking technologies to market. I'm your host, Andrea Nelson. In every episode, we'll bring you insights and expertise from throughout the world of tech transfer. Today, we welcome back Paige George, but this time in her new role as FLC Executive Director. When we first spoke with Paige in season 1 of the podcast, we talked about her path from Navy intern to mechanical engineer to technology transfer manager at the Naval Surface Warfare Center, Panama City Division. This time, she's at the start of an exciting new chapter, her transition from a federal lab practitioner and an active leader and volunteer with the FLC to leading the organization itself. Paige shares what drew her to the role, how her years in the Navy and the FLC community shaped her perspective, and what she sees for the future of the federal technology transfer community. We also talk about the opportunities ahead for the FLC and why Paige believes getting involved in the community is one of the best things a federal technology transfer professional can do. Let's jump in. Paige George, thank you for joining us and welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, Andrea. It's good to be back.
Now, for anyone who missed your first episode, give us the quick version of your path from Navy intern to mechanical engineer to tech transfer.
Oh, yeah. So the abridged version, I did my first internship with the Navy when I was in high school back in 2007. And that first internship really opened my eyes. I've always loved math and science, but I didn't know what I wanted to do as I, grew up. And so I did my first internship at the Navy base, and I got to see so many incredible technologies that I did not know were being developed really in my backyard. I knew the Navy base existed, but I had no idea the incredible things that they did. Panama City is the home of military diving because we have a dive school in Panama City. We have the Navy Experimental Diving Unit and the Warfare Center. So I really fell in love with everything that was happening there. And I knew that I wanted to be an engineer for the Navy. I mean, it was clear that first summer. So I eventually got what's called the DoD Smart Scholarship, which is a scholarship that still exists now. So if anyone's listening, go check it out. They pay for your tuition, your books, your health insurance, as well as an annual cash stipend while you go to school. So they pay for my mechanical engineering degree, and then you just have to work for whatever laboratory you want within the Department of War for the number of years that you went to college. So I owed 3 years to the Navy base, but that was not a problem for me because I knew that I wanted to work there. I started in diving and life support systems, designing diving equipment for the military. It was an amazing experience. I did that for about a decade. But during that time, we did a lot of work utilizing CRADAs, and we also licensed a few technologies to diving companies to develop high-tech equipment for the military. And I was fascinated by how fast we could work with industry and with academia. And I just knew that I wanted to do that. I love being the facilitator. I love, I like being involved in everyone's business. And when you are in tech transfer, you get to know what's going on across the entire laboratory. So after some pushing for my Navy leadership to let me, take on that role when our previous order retired, I finally was able to talk them into it. And I was the order at the Navy base for 6 years before taking on this role.
That's amazing. What a journey, too, and all that you've picked up along the way.
Yes.
And you've talked about how you got hooked on FLC then at your first national meeting in 2015. So what was it that drew you in? Was there a person or a moment there that really got you?
I don't know if it was a moment, but more of a series of moments. It's kind of funny. The person that I replaced is kind of an FLC hero. His name was Ed Linsenmeyer. He passed away last year. But when I went to this meeting, so many people approached me and said, "Oh my goodness, do you know Ed Linsenmeyer? You work with Ed Linsenmeyer? That's incredible." And I had no idea how good of a reputation he had federally within FLC. That was also the summer that I met Paul, because he was the chair at the time. And so, again, it's kind of serendipity how I got into this role now. But at that first meeting, I just met so many incredible people from so many backgrounds. I say this all the time, but tech transfer is probably the most diverse profession I've ever heard of, because people come to it from so many different places. There are scientists and engineers, attorneys, there are marketing and business professionals. I mean, and I've said this before, I met a cop who became the ORDA at an Army laboratory.
Wow.
So again, there's so many different types of people that come from so many experiences that make up the tech transfer community, which really is what makes tech transfer so successful, is the people. So getting to experience that for the first time really solidified, like, okay, I'm at the right spot and I want to keep, involved in whatever this is, because I didn't really understand it at the time. So yeah, that really hooked me, that first meeting.
Yeah. And then over the next 11 years, you've been in all kinds of roles at the FLC. So can you give an overview of what your involvement has been?
Yeah. So from 2015 to 2018, I was an attendee. Any FLC meeting that Ed Linsenmeyer would allow me to go to, I would go to. And then in 2019, I took over as the Southeast Regional Coordinator, and I stayed in that role for a few years. And then I moved over to being the Facilitate Committee Chair back in 2023. And I've been in that role until I took on the role of Executive Director. So I've been on the board for quite a few years. And so it was a natural next step for me to move over to FLC.
And if I can take just a moment to divert, because we bring up the FLC regions sometimes in conversation, but could you, because you were a regional coordinator and then the Facilitate Committee works closely with the regions, can you explain a little bit about what those are and the role that they play?
Oh, absolutely. So within the FLC, we're broken into 6 different regions. And because the FLC supports all 300 federal laboratories, is easier to break it up into regions. And so within each region, a coordinator is elected in to really support the labs in that region, to help put together events, to help, bring about connection. We used to hold regional meetings. We don't do that anymore because they just weren't as well attended. Our national meeting is really the highlight of the year. But the regional coordinators are really trying to ensure that the laboratories within that region are connected to FLC. There are a lot of really small labs that don't have any support or real connection to other laboratories in their area. And so that is a role that the FLC can come in and play to ensure that those labs are getting the support that they need within tech transfer, and also that the tech transfer professionals in these smaller labs get access to this incredible community.
So earlier this summer, you've stepped into this role of executive director. Now you've got the whole umbrella. What appealed to you about this role, and how did you know that it was the right move for you?
Honestly, it was kind of just as surprising to me as it was to everyone else. We found out that Paul was retiring, and obviously that was a shock to everybody. No one's ready for Paul to sail off into the sunset. And, at first, honestly, it didn't even cross my mind. And I saw back in February, I saw the job announcement again, and I just clicked on it. And I don't know how to explain it, but it was just this feeling of, oh, no, that's going to be me. Of course it's going to be me.
Wow.
And I felt very good about it. And it really feels like the natural next step. My Navy career has been absolutely phenomenal. I have done things that most people will never get to do. I've seen things that most people will never get to see. But at the point that I was at in my career, tech transfer is really who I am. The ability to connect with others and ensure that, both in my career within the military, to ensure that our warfighters get the best technologies. And now as the FLC executive director, ensuring that federally funded research turns into something that helps defend our nation, that helps our nation prosper. It's again, the natural next step for me.
That's wonderful to hear. That's amazing for you to have that just certainty.
Yes.
And you've talked about Paul Zielinski as a mentor. And Is there something specific that he has taught that you still carry with you?
Absolutely. Paul is one of a kind. There is no replacing Paul, but one of the things that I admire most about him are his kindness and his competence. So Paul is one of the smartest people I've ever met. His historical knowledge of federal tech transfer policy, his understanding of the labs, his knowledge of the intricacies of technology transfer. He is a history buff. He is a legal buff. There's really not a question that you could ask him about tech transfer that he probably would not know the answer to. It doesn't happen. But on top of being so incredibly intelligent, which many people like that can be intimidating, especially because of his height. But he's not, because he's also one of the kindest people I've ever met. He leads with kindness first. And so you really know where you stand with Paul. And so his leadership style is really something that I'm trying to take into this role and emulate, because I would love to be the type of leader that he is. So yeah, I'm carrying a lot with me moving into this role from Paul.
And is there anything that has surprised you most about the executive director role now that you're a couple months in?
I don't know if I want to say surprising, but I think my perspective on the team that we have has been solidified. I've always known that we have like the hardest working team, because being the regional coordinator and then moving into the facilitate committee chair role, I've been able to kind of see behind the fence, but really getting to see, what happens behind the scenes has solidified the fact that we have the best team around. Every single day, everybody is working so incredibly hard to ensure that it looks seamless from the outside, that all the products that we provide to our laboratories are top notch. And it is a daily struggle to make sure that everything happens without fail, without issue. Putting on a national meeting, putting on this new meeting we're putting on in December, I just did not realize how much work goes into every single product that FLC puts out. So it's been really gratifying to, again, solidify what I already knew, and then get to see it from this perspective.
Awesome. And I will say it's very good to hear that it means that we're doing our job well if you're not seeing those things.
Exactly.
So I'm glad to hear that. And so what do you see as the biggest opportunity for the FLC right now?
There are so many exciting opportunities. So this last board meeting, the executive board approved our strategic plan, which is really exciting. And then also this week, the White House came out with the OSTP report that really highlighted the value and importance of the federal labs. And there's been a call to open up the labs to the nation, so that way innovators can utilize the resources that are found in the labs. And again, that is gratifying, and it shows that we have been on the right path and we are aligned with the science and technology priorities of the White House. And now we just have to continue pushing forward with what we've been doing, which is to highlight, hey, these laboratories are a resource to the American public. And then we also have to be able to help facilitate that within our member laboratories and help them find partnerships, help facilitate technology transfer across the nation. So I think that is a really exciting opportunity. And then we're moving into a place where we're going to solidify our committee charters. And so now we can use the White House report that just came out to better align what we plan to do within our committees to our strategic plan.
Amazing. So is there anything that you want to change or improve specifically about how the FLC supports its member labs?
Oh, well, there's one that I can highlight right now, Andrea, and that is the fact that you recently changed the way that we send emails to our Department of War members to plain text. Again, I'm not an expert in what that means. I'm an engineer. Don't ask me about email, but what that does mean is now our Department of War member laboratories can actually read our emails. And it sounds like that's not a big deal, but for about 40% of our laboratories, they weren't really able to read FLC email. So making a change that seems so simple has such a high impact. And so again, bravo Zulu to you and your team, because while it seems like a small deal, it really is not. And so, it's simple things like that, ensuring that we are utilizing the communication methods that our member laboratories need to make sure that we have the greatest reach into our member laboratories.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, our teams make these great resources and opportunities, and if we can't get the word out about it, it's not worth much. So I'm
Exactly.
so happy that's made an impact. And where do you want to see the FLC a year from now?
So, on a macro scale, I want to see the FLC continue to be the go-to resource for federal technology transfer. We have some things coming on the horizon that I can't talk about right now, but hopefully by this time next year, you will be able to hear about all the incredible things that we have coming up. I want to see more of our member laboratories connected to our resources, because that is an every single day thing that we have to focus on, making sure that, there's turnover in the tech transfer profession. There have been a lot of changes within the federal government over the last year and a half. And so making sure that our new technology transfer professionals are immediately connected to our network and to our resources. And then making sure that we are aligning ourselves with other national partners that have similar missions to what we have. So that way we can provide the best resources to our primary customer, which is our laboratories.
Now, if you were talking to someone at a federal lab who's on the fence about getting involved with the FLC, what would you say to them?
Say jump in. There's no reason not to get involved in FLC. Technology transfer is a contact sport. If you've been around the FLC or around tech transfer in general, you've probably heard that before. And it's absolutely true. The people are truly what make up this profession. So if you are a new technology transfer professional at a federal laboratory, the best thing that you can do for yourself and your career is to get involved with FLC, because we can do a variety of things for you in your laboratory. But the first thing is getting you plugged in to not only the greater federal technology transfer community, but with other professionals within your agency, at other laboratories that are in your region. We can plug you in with the people that are going to walk alongside you in this career to ensure that you are successful and that your laboratory is successful in your technology transfer mission.
Is there anything else that you want listeners to know that we haven't covered?
Oh man, I think we've covered everything. But I just, again, want to emphasize that this is an incredibly exciting opportunity for me. I'm so grateful to Paul Zielinski. I'm so grateful to the FLC staff. This has been a seamless transition, it feels like, for me, because of the relationships that I've already built within the federal technology transfer community and within the FLC. So thank you to Paul. Thank you to the FLC staff. Thank you to the board. I'm really excited about what's to come.
Well, I can speak for myself, and I think our team as well. We're very excited also about what's to come, and to have you and your new energy here. Of course, we're also sad to see Paul go, but he won't go too far, I think. So
no, we have his cell phone number.
Yeah. And we will have you back soon for updates and new announcements. But thank you again, Paige George, for being with us.
Thank you, Andrea.
A special thank you to Paige George for joining us again and sharing her perspective as the FLC's new executive director. As Paige reminds us, federal technology transfer is about connection, connecting people, labs, resources, partners, and ideas, so federally funded research can become something that strengthens our nation, supports mission needs, and delivers real-world impact. For federal lab professionals, Paige's message is simple. Jump in. The FLC community is here to help connect you with peers across agencies, regions, and laboratories, and to support the work you do every day to move innovation forward. To learn more about FLC resources, upcoming events, educational opportunities, and ways to get involved, visit federallabs.org. Be sure to subscribe to the Transfer Files wherever you get your podcasts for more conversations like this one from across the federal technology transfer community. Thanks as always to our producer and digital marketing manager, Carly Dunow, graphics manager, Danny Batchelor, Web Content and Systems Manager Jess Klein, and the FLC staff and community for your support. We'll see you back in 2 weeks on Transfer Files Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in to the Transfer Files, your insider's look at federal tech transfer. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected for more episodes exploring how hundreds of government laboratories and countless industry partners are driving innovations that shape our lives.